Hi everyone. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Figure I'd do a just chatting stream. Hang out, talk, the normal shit.
Why must I be tortured again by all this?
One sec. Sorry about that. One of my PS5 remotes decided to no longer work. Which means it's basically dead, which is depressing. Well, welcome in, Draken. Oh, excuse me. I can't complain. Even if I did, it wouldn't change a thing. How about you? How's your day going? Sure.
I am the hype!
No, I can't actually. Should be. Hold on.
I am the hype!
Test. There we go. Now I'm in. Oof.
How are ya?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay.
How's everything going?
It could be better.
What's wrong?
Oh, I'm just in pain today.
I'm sorry.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pop out and pop back in because I think my sound is weirdly off. I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Come on, hands. Alright, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Alright. I don't know why my sound is really low. So, but yeah, I just got home. I was a little late getting in because one of the kiddos lost his hat, so I was helping him grab it.
There's no one with you?
I'm on the phone, Don.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My neighbor thought I was with somebody. I had to let him know I was on the phone.
It's all good.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. So I don't know why my stream thing is really quiet right now.
Probably because Twitch likes to turn itself down. Or Discord.
Hang on, let me exit out of everything real quick and see if I can reset. Alright. How's that?
You still sound the same on my side.
Okay, you definitely sound better on my side. I hurt. I got a weird email today.
Oh?
Yeah, remember when I was telling you about those tactiles I was making for Jen?
Yeah.
I had a person email me claiming to be a professor from Vermont. Accusing me of plagiarism.
What?
Yeah, the thing is, though, I didn't find shit. I drew the one tactile that she used, because, remember the, Braided River one?
Yep.
The floodplain section was a little too tall, so it read by the fingers as being different from what it actually is. It read okay for her because this is something she knows, but when somebody else was looking at it and she was explaining it, it didn't quite read right. This is why we prototype.
Yep.
And, well, the one she ended up using was one that I actually hand drew. It was the Meandering River.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. It took me a long time to even learn about the Mississippi River and then Delta to make that design, and ultimately we decided to set that aside for the grant, because I'm supposed to be helping her with that. I'm actually named on the damn thing. I'm tempted to get my name taken off.
Oh?
Honestly. I'd have to work with her.
Yeah,
Personal thing.
that I could see how that would be rough.
Yeah. And, I know I can be professional. I don't know if she can be professional.
You never know until you try.
Yeah. But, till that bridge comes, I won't burn it. Not gonna do anything stupid. But this email is kind of weird. It was a Gmail account.
That is
It
weird.
wasn't even an EDU. So I'm sitting here like... Granted, I've been fantasizing about different ways I can frickin' get back at Jen just to have the frickin' brain do its stupid, right? Get it out of my system.
So...
This is weird.
So here's my thought. All right, and maybe this is a little bit unhinged advice. Hi, Lace. Welcome in. Um, so there's two parts of this. One,
Yeah.
you don't know where this email came from.
No, I don't want to bring it up to her because it'll look like I'm trying to cause problems when there's not.
Well,
That's why I started off with, I've been imagining scenarios where I got one over on her, but
how
that's
how
just
do
too
you
much
know
work.
it's not from her?
Um,
Would be my first question. Hi, Lynette. Welcome in.
I didn't think of that. I'm really good at imagining scenarios where I get revenge or get one over on somebody, but truth be told, I've
Those
always
who,
just found it easier to leave them to their own damn devices and they'll self-detonate on their own.
those who seek the path of vengeance must remember to dig two graves.
Truth.
And the best thing to do, is let karma do its thing. If you didn't specifically reach out to this person, don't respond and leave it alone.
Okay. Yeah, because like I said, this is absolutely odd. And you know what? When I left my ex-husband, I just didn't have anything to do with him anymore ever again. That man is now on marriage number 4. And doesn't have custody of any of his kids from any of his previous marriages. Between number 4 and me. And, my abusive ex that I left back in 2022, I have not had a thing one to do with him. Last I heard, he got kicked out of the apartment that I left and has been couch hopping.
Oh, wow.
So, while I am very good at imagining scenarios and dreaming up and thinking up scenarios, when it comes to squeezing that trigger, I don't. I just don't. I don't know if it's... I don't have the guts. I don't have the energy. It's too much trouble, too much hassle. I just don't.
Well, so here's the... Let's start with this. Hammer or ear? Hammer, would you like ways to fix said problem? Or ear, would you like someone to listen?
I'd like somebody to listen, because I was not expecting to receive an email saying I freaking plagiarized.
Well, have you researched where what the email is from?
The email is a Gmail account, which anybody can make. The person
Correct.
is claiming to be a geologist in Vermont.
Well,
It
there's a
has
quick...
the header and footer with contact information via Gmail and the freaking Vermont
What
.edu.
What is the Gmail name? Like, throw it in chat and in Discord.
It's weird. It's weird. I'm getting bells ringing, but I am also very pissed off about being accused of plagiarism.
Well, there's let's so where did this email come from? Like what?
Supposed, like, check the state?
No, like what state does this person say he's from?
Vermont.
So here's a problem with that. All right, I'm going to grab a screenshot real quick, and you'll understand why. Then chat.
Okay. Okay. Superficial mapping, geochronological techniques.
Yes, but look what university it's from.
University of Maine.
Uh-huh. Which is not Vermont. Which goes back to my normal, as someone in the IT field. You didn't reach out to this person. And so what I would do is I would screenshot, or you could call during that person's office hours, because their phone number is there.
Okay.
And reach out that way and say, hey, I got a weird email that supposedly is you. My name is this. Can you confirm or deny? Like, was this you or was it not?
All right.
Start with that.
Okay.
Because there's no point in getting bent out of shape on something that could be a scam, first and foremost. Second,
because this thing, only people at the Oregon convention for the NFB would know about, because that's the only place where these got shown, and then there's only a couple of people that I had told about these specific tactiles and even showed pictures of.
Which brings me to my next thing. All right, your 3D mapping of a type of river basin that's not subject to plagiarism.
No, I hand drew that one.
Because plagiarism is over the written word. Specifically is the technical term. Plagiarism is presenting someone else's ideas or work as your own without giving credit. It's a type of cheating that can have serious consequences. All right, copying and pasting from sources. paraphrasing without giving credit, submitting someone else's work as your own, reusing your own work without citation, using another person's design, art, or music as your own. All right. The fact that
Wait, I
you're
can plagiarize myself?
if you publish something and reuse that publication without citing the original publication, because yeah, it's weird. You can plagiarize yourself,
Well,
but
that explains one incident I had in university. That can be explained after we figure this out, because this has got my poor little brain going nutballs.
so the fact that your mapping is based off of real life rivers
Mm-hmm.
makes it not subject to the plagiarism rule.
Especially since the braided river, I had permission from the photographer
Correct.
to turn it into a 3D printable. Specifically to teach blind people science.
Which is why, yeah, it's. I think, now this is my own gut instinct, mind you. Like, it seems like this would come from someone who has a bone to pick with you and wants to make you afraid. Which I can only think of one person currently that fits that criteria.
Jen.
Correct.
But why would she do that, though?
Which is why your next step should be on Monday. Call that person and see if it's from them. If it is, you know what your next step is. The next step would be, why not? Well, get a lawyer, and why wasn't it sent from their EDU account instead of their Gmail?
Because that's got me freaked out. Because I'm used to dealing with schools. I've been starting to get a name among different research groups and different universities for my 3D printing, and I have been actually helping out with several different grants here and there with my 3D printing. So I'm used to getting searching emails going, hey, I have heard about you working with so-and-so on such and such grant researching XYZ.
Yep.
I am doing research on Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and I am in need of having Charlie Delta prototypes printed. I've signed a few NDAs, so I have to be very generalistic. This is, for me, left field, and I have never been, aside from one incident in when I was going to university, accused of plagiarism. Ever.
Yeah,
I am too finicky, and I tend to save everything I write and make, and I timestamp all of my drawings and all the changes I do.
which is why, quite literally, several things doesn't make sense. All right, and let's walk through it on a cybersecurity level. All right, one, if this person was who they say they are, all right. Now realize this is Occam's razor times infinity. All right, the path with least assumptions is the most sense.
Okay.
All right. So on one side, it's really this person. Okay? One, why didn't they list themselves as a fellow at University of Maine instead of Vermont? Second, if this was the person, they would refer themselves as a fellow of the University of Maine and a member of the Vermont Geological Society. Because that's the way this type of thing usually works.
Yeah.
Alright? Not University of Vermont. Wrong thing, but continuing on. Why wasn't, if this was a plagiarism issue, why wasn't it sent, if this was the person, from their EDU address? Because if there was a true act of plagiarism, all right, you would want that educational email to back up the claim of, hey, this is really me, this is really an issue.
And wouldn't they have gotten a hold of the governing body that oversaw the presentation?
Correct. They would have gotten a hold of the governing body that oversaw the presentation, first and foremost, and it would have come from the university itself. Because the way universities work is any patents or papers that is produced while you are a fellow or a PhD student or things like that is 50% owned by that university. Hence, it's a big thing why, like, if a professor or engineer, PhD engineer, patents something in their university, yes, the university will help pay for the patent lawyer. However, they get 50% of the share. Because that's part of the thing of, hey, did you expect us to just do this for free?
And with the NDAs and the other grants I've been helping out with here and there, I usually simply get paid.
Yep.
To print their designs, or they pay me per hour to create the STL, and I outright tell them I will have to learn this stuff in order to be able to properly make this design. They usually pay me for the time it takes me to learn this, or they will provide me with the materials with which to learn, and I get one-on-one tutoring for free.
Which is why, like, so there's all those assumptions there. All right, so you see, like, looking at it from that side, Jesus, that's a lot. On the other side, this is not really this person, and someone's trying to fuck with me.
Which is the more likely.
Correct.
And my brain stopped at plagiarism.
Because, and the reason why I think it's someone fucking with you is because, as you stated, you have had to deal with that type of call in the past. Someone who knows you would know that. Social engineering, it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest things with social engineering. There's 3 ways to do it. You have to gain someone's confidence. You have to get them distracted. Or you have to get them not thinking straight.
No, I definitely haven't been thinking straight. the past
What-
month or so.
which is why which is why 95% pretty sure it's a scam.
And there are details about that frickin' tactile that not many people know.
Correct.
Like the fact that it was printed in 2 pieces.
And who all would know that? You don't have to say it out
Yes.
loud, but just sit there and, think, who would know this?
There's only 3 people who know it was actually printed in 2 pieces before being put together with the post-processing and modeled together as though it was 1 piece. Sean, Jen, and me.
Which, now, here's the part that, thinking logically, alright? Thinking logically. If it was who you believe it was, what reason would they have for doing this? That's the easy part. To get you to stop doing such things.
Get me to stop
To,
making STLs and my mapping stuff?
yep.
I was talking with Noah about 3D printing their LiDAR mapping for the oceans.
What a person does in front of someone is not always what they do behind your back. Not everyone lives their truth openly and, outwardly.
Would be easier if people did.
It absolutely would be. You are 100% correct. And I completely agree with you on that. But not everyone, even people that are polyamorous, mind you, like, people have a hard time when it comes to the truth. Because we go back to the wizard's first rule. People will believe a lie because they either fear it to be true or they want it to be true. A person can be smart, but people as a whole are dumb. It's one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite things from the wizard's first rule. But later on in the series, one of the wizard's other rules is deserve victory. It's not enough to achieve victory. Anyone can achieve victory. Any single person. But deserving victory is a vastly different story.
My buddy Matt was the one that got me in contact with Noah about the projects before and it seems like the projects are going to get scrapped, so he's trying to find me other contacts with even other countries because he likes what I've made and what I've been doing, because I've been working on all this stuff to help Jen for her grant.
And here's the annoying part. All right. My bet, and this is an asshole take, mind you, but it's probably the easiest one. there is a piece of me that wonders if Jen is taking credit for your things.
Sean said credit was given to me, but he wasn't sure exactly how to how it should be presented. It was just presented as an artist name, just in my real name. When I do academic stuff, it's bachelor degree of conservation science and biology. Or when I'm doing in the art world, lead design, lead or artist lead of my business name. Those are the two titlings I use.
So, which brings me to the, are we sure that credit was given?
I wasn't there. I just have Sean's word.
As my grandfather would say,
I don't even know if he was in the room. I don't even know if he was in the room when she did the presentation because he was helping with other things.
as my grandfather said to me when I was young, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a fucking duck, not a ghost. So
ask Sean if he was in the room or if
I wouldn't even bother. I would sit there and call that person on Monday, confirm, verify if it was them. If it was not, you have your answer. And Lace, quack, quack, quack.
But there would be no reason to do that.
People don't make sense. At the end of the day, people do not make sense. Logic is not the ruler of people's actions. Especially, and I hate to say it, but for neurodivergence, we use logic because that's how we stay safe.
Yeah.
Because emotions overwhelm us. Time and time again. We use logic
Sometimes
to...
I have to stand up and tall gag it.
Meanwhile, but that is not to say that we ourselves are not ruled by our own emotions. We can be ruled by emotions just as easily. But as a whole, when it comes to emotions versus logic, people are ruled by their emotions. They don't sit with their emotions trying to determine where they're coming from or what their purpose is and where or why or how they're having this. They just do.
I'm always sitting and trying to disentangle everything. That's why I always feel like especially as of late, been feeling like I've been a bother to everybody because I've been needing help to disentangle it all.
And that's because you are trying to take the high road. Not everyone's going to take the high road. It's just the way it is. To take a line from Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek, Next Generation, you could commit no errors and still fail. That is not losing, that is life. You could do every single thing right and still lose. It's not losing. It's not truly losing. That's life.
Yeah.
These things happen. All we can do is the next right thing. And the next right thing for you is trust, but verify. Verify that this is true, you know your next step. If it is not, then you know your next step. No ifs, no ands, no buts.
And it wouldn't be the first time I've thrown Bill at somebody.
Exactly. So, I would state, hi Metal Gear, welcome in.
So, no, don't respond. Just verify it.
Yep. You are letting it take control of your mental capacity. You are stressing over something that may not even really need to be stressed over. Verify its authenticity. Take the next step. Because that's
And I
your fork
haven't-
in the road.
Yeah, and I haven't been thinking straight with all the stress.
Correct. That would be what I would suggest. Make sense?
Yeah. I've also been accused of being way too nice for my own good.
And these things happen. That makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
but love, kindness is wise. It's hard to be kind. If it was easy to be kind, we would have a vastly different world than we do now.
And believe me, I do have my evil streak.
It's like Peter Cabaldi's doctor says, I'm not doing it because I want this. I'm not doing it because it's easy. God knows it's not. I'm doing it because it's right. I'm doing it because it's kind.
I actually had at one point in D&D created a character that didn't believe in killing, and finally the DM had an NPC ask why, and I'm like, killing's easy. Neutralizing an enemy non-lethally? Now there's a challenge. My character wasn't refusing to kill people because they were kind. They were refusing to kill people because they saw it as not a challenge.
Fair. Evening, Drago. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, Drago.
He's in the stream.
The only time I got the words plagiarize thrown at me any other time was when I was in university, and that one's actually kind of a funny one.
Yeah.
They had an entire ethics thing between 3 different teachers, 2 different departments, with the dean over me.
Yeah, that's right.
I was working on fluid viscosities, journal, chemistry, and I was helping out with providing visuals, and sitting there with. We were tackling how the temperature differential and viscosity temperature and viscosity differentials of your substrate and your additives, how that affected the diffusional fractionation process. Basically, how fast it spread throughout the substrate. talking about that interrelationship. Well, someone else ended up doing the math, and I recorded what temperatures I used and what the viscosities were of like the different additives and substrates, you know, like alcohol, ink, acrylic, oil, you know, etc., etc. Right?
Yep.
And I took loads of pictures. And there were several select ones that were put towards that journal. And I decided, hey, this is actually kind of fun, and I decided to continue doing it, playing with it all, for my photography class, where I had to take pictures of motion. I couldn't get more motion than that. Taking pictures as the alcohol ink I was dropping into the water, spreading out, and if the water was actually cooler than the alcohol ink, it slowed down that diffusional fractionation spread. And it made the most beautiful patterns. So, of course, naturally, I decided to do a whole bunch more for my abstract art class, because I had to have 1 color, 2 color, 3 color, 4 color, not counting the color of the canvas, air quotes. So I just simply kept at it, and I used different pictures for each projects that I was doing.
Nice.
They ended up calling an entire ethics community, basically. Because they were like, how do we address this? I mean, I passed each of those with flying colors, and then they all realized, wait a minute, this is the same, these are all looking suspiciously similar. You threw a science major with an art minor at something that allowed them to play with art and science and the intersectionality at once. Mad scientist mode activated.
Fair. Valid.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of a funny story for me to tell, and I've got a journal under my belt with it.
Nice.
Because that's the realm of chemistry when with dealing with those specific things. And I actually have a picture of me with Adam Savage, and him and I were talking, and there was a lull at Rose City Comic-Con, and I actually gave him a picture of one of the pieces I had used in the journal, because I had kept all the pictures I had. So I printed off of that because I saw his talk about, you know, fluid viscosity and diffusion and whatnot. And him and I were talking, and he's like, yeah, no, it was great. I thought it was just a freaking, you know, equation, and it's an interrelationship, and and then he's like, wait a minute, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah. He ended up fan geeking out on me. Because I was part of one of the papers he was studying for that episode.
Nice. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. And we got to actually sit there and talk, and they're like, Adam, it's break time. It's break time. He's like, you want to come with? Come on. And we were sitting there freaking talking up a storm. I mean, heck, at one point I even used heated up toothpaste just to see what it would do.
That's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Heated up toothpaste in hot water, it does spread out some, and because the heavier the viscosity, the higher the temperature it must be, not just the additive, but also the substrate, in order to affect diffusion in a positive flow.
Huh.
Because the higher the viscosity, the more work it takes for it to spread out. So if you just take a regular room temperature toothpaste and throw it in a fish tank that's got regular temperature water in it, all the way to the bottom, and then it'll take time, a lot more time, for it to actually start spreading out. But if you're heating it up, you are somewhat changing the viscosity of it. Or if you left it room temperature while you superheated the water, you end up with it dropping through the tank slower. If the water, the substrate, the water, is warmer, you end up with that toothpaste dropping slower, and it starts to spread as it goes down towards the bottom of the tank because of how thick and viscous it is in comparison to the substrate.
Intriguing.
While rubbing alcohol, you actually will see it spread almost immediately as soon as you drop it in, because alcohol is less viscous than water.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and you see a similar effect when you're putting honey in tea because of how viscous honey is. If you put it in cold water, come on, we've all seen somebody make unsweet tea into sweetened tea by putting frickin' sugar or honey or syrup in cold tea, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
True.
It's also how the bartenders are layering the drinks. The different temperatures of the drinks, the different viscosities. So the different viscosities will actually, the thicker the alcohol, especially like your creamy liqueurs or something, your rose and whatnot.
Yep.
They are actually layering them because when they're all the same temperature, they behave in a specific manner. So you're not dropping them in a substrate, you're spreading it out and using surface tension to keep the layers together as separate entities.
That's
you can
kind of
actually
awesome.
play with it with. You can play with it with honey and tea. You splooge the honey in, room temperature honey, into your hot tea, and it'll actually, kind of swirl a little bit and whatnot as it goes down to the bottom and spreads out. But if you heat up the honey before you put it in that hot tea, it'll spread faster. You actually see the same sort of thing when you're putting creamer in your coffee. Use a clear mug instead of the white mug, so you're looking at it from the side instead of just the top, but you can actually see the milk and the creamer kind of bubbling and burbling underneath the coffee without breaking the surface tension, because the coffee is hot, so therefore that milk, that creamer, is going to diffuse faster. Regular milk faster than creamer because creamer is more viscous than the milk. And the higher the fat content, the more viscosity.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. I had so much fun with that project. This
Makes
is my idea of fun.
Fair.
Not just merely gaming and whatnot. This is my idea of fun. Sitting there and I found another intersection where art and science went crisscross on me, and I ran with it. I used to keep book upon book on all of my art experiments, which were science experiments with art supplies.
That's kind of awesome, though. Like, the viscosity makes sense to me, like, on a science level. Like, art-wise, I suck at art. But I'm also colorblind to some shades of red, some shades of green. So that happens.
So work with blues
Well,
and different tints and shades of blues, and make some thinner and some thicker for pouring art.
so what I used to do is I used to make wood chip runes where I would stain it with acrylics. Everything, like, I would take a little, like, small sponge and soak it in water, and then just dip like a corner of the sponge and just brush it onto onto the wood chip coins while they were dry, so the thing would get wet, and just let them dry and then epoxy them after.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with those.
Heck yeah. And
Like,
that's probably also why the viscosity talk is definitely perking your ears up. Because you can play with that quite a bit if you go back to doing your runes.
at some point I will, but one second. What's that?
Alrighty.
I can't reach the spot.
Hi, Drago.
How you doing?
Better. Had slow time at work, so I started that homework you gave me.
Okay. I'm sorry I replied late to your messages on Facebook. I literally just saw them.
That's okay. That's messages are just kind of, you know, like leaving your card at someone's house.
Yeah. My phone's always on vibrate, so I don't hear them come in.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that friend is one of the pillars for the con community in the Pacific Northwest. So, yeah, that's definitely why I got sideswiped with that freaking email and was like, I need to get this out of my head.
Yeah.
So, what'd you think of the butterfly?
I liked it.
Oh yeah. You caught the meaning, right?
I think I did. And I remember you sending it to me last night, and I was tired.
Yeah. Generally speaking, only ones that know will actually see it and immediately say something.
Let me see if I can. Oh, wait, hold on, I already have this.
So, but
Oh.
yeah.
Sorry.
Hey guys, I've got to
do it.
attend to things, so I'm going to jump off here. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
Talk to you all later. Thank
Talk to you
you.
later.
Thank you.
All right. I've got to help spouse